there, Patriots of the American Republic. Welcome back to our channel. Today we have our co-founder Saul coming back from deep space to join us on today's special topic. Saul, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm doing well, Carlos. Thanks so much for the invite again, my Patriot brother. It's been a while, so it definitely feels exciting to come back. You have gotten a lot of traction with the fans out there, with our fellow Patriot brothers and sisters. So it feels great to be back. I'm actually coming back as a father, as you know, Carlos. Your nephew, Emmanuel Saul, was born 2 months ago. So I am a new father. Excited and blessed for the opportunity, which again, I've already gotten a lot of practice because my stepson, which I love as a son, my own son, David, he is already 10 years old. And, for a while, I've been spending time with him. I know his mother. So kind of like getting the traction, the practice ready for fatherhood, but enjoying the baby. Not too much sleep going on lately, but we're making it happen, enjoying it with lots of love and care. And everything's going well. Just enjoying the process. It even gives me more fuel to do this, what we're doing.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations, right? Congratulations on a new chapter in your life. And obviously, we wish you all the best. So getting into today's episode is going to be titled as Media Meltdown. So over the last month or so, Donald Trump has taken advantage of the Democrats' corruption in attempting to prosecute him, right? About a month or two ago, he managed to meet with some union workers over in New York City and had a very, very favorable experience. Last month, he held a rally in Solid Blue, New Jersey at Seaside Heights, if I'm not mistaken, and it brought in such a massive, unexpected crowd that the media just took a step back and was like, wait, what's going on here? And then just a few days ago, he held a rally in the deep blue area of the South Bronx. I mean, since the mainstream leftist media is having a number of meltdowns because they can't seem to figure out how to spin their lies at this juncture, they can't call these people over at the South Bronx white supremacists like they usually do for the rest of Trump supporters, right? So they're in panic mode. And I think the media is absolutely in panic mode because everything that they are doing is backfiring and it's not working, from prosecuting him, from calling him the usual racist, and all the normal rhetoric that we've heard over the last almost 10 years. It's just not working because Trump seems to be gaining a lot of ground, not just in areas that he won in the prior election, but also more importantly in the swing states. So I think the biggest issue moving non-Trump supporters over to supporting Trump is the economy, which we touched on just a couple of videos ago. The economy impacts everyone, regardless of skin, color, religion, background, gender, whatever. That's something tangible that everybody's feeling the pinch. Saul, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, you couldn't have said it better. Right now, Democrats, independents, and Republicans, we're all feeling the Biden bottom of the barrel economy. I mean, at this point, people are waking up. The massive awakening that's occurring, it's mainly due to that point. The economy, people are realizing, oh, listen, I'm going to put the feelings away. This is actually affecting my pocket. And as we can see, I mean, increases in across the board, pretty much in every industry. I actually was reading the other day an article where even going out to McDonald's or any fast food is being considered luxurious in a sense because people, they don't have the disposable income to focus to that. Most people can barely keep up with the bills, with electricity, with the water, with the rent or the mortgages. I mean, it's out of control. So I think the main reason of this massive awakening is to the economy. This inflation, which President Biden, as we all know, he continues to lie, saying that when he took over with his administration, that the inflation was around 9%, when we all know that's a lie. It was about 1.2, 1.3% when Trump left it. Right now, under Biden, it is at a massive increase. So he continues to deflect and green and gaslight pretty much everyone when it comes to this. So what's the main takeaway about this massive awakening and exodus from the Democrat Party is the economy. In addition to that, people are seeing that this administration is crumbling. The wheels are coming off the bus. Things are falling off. I mean, they can see Biden. He can barely walk. He can barely put a sentence together. So they're putting one and one together. And again, even the most Trump hater with the biggest derangement, Trump derangement syndrome, they're saying, oh, yeah, you're right. I might not like this guy. He's mean tweets. But you know what? We had world peace with him. We had a better economy. And even them, Democrats, they have more money in their pockets under Trump.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. So let's talk about the first subject matter is the left's dirty tactics. And they have a slew of them, right? So since 2015, the left has done its darndest to paint Donald Trump as a racist. They did this despite Trump being a major figure amongst elitist Democrats and prominent in the black community since the 80s, 90s, and even into the 2000s. I mean, there are many pictures of prominent black leaders like Jesse Jackson who took pictures and spoke well of Trump. He was popular amongst professional athletes like Mike Tyson, and he hung out with celebrities like Oprah Winfrey. Heck, he was even popular amongst Democrats like Bill and Hillary Clinton. When you look at his Hollywood appearance, he guest starred on Hollywood movies like Home Alone 2 with no issue. He guest appeared on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Now, I mean, if he was a racist, as the left tries to paint him, why would that specific show, which had an all-black cast, invite him onto their show? I mean, it makes no sense. Now, remember, so folks even had a show, the leftist folks had a show on NBC, leftist network NBC, called The Apprentice. So again, if this guy was the villain that they portray him as, why would they have had him on their shows all those decades ago? I mean, I think anyone with half a brain understands that the left began calling him a racist when he came out as a Republican and announced he was running for president of the United States back in like 2015. That's when all of this divisive rhetoric began. And sadly, half of our country not only believed and hates this man, but they have been manipulated into transferring that hatred onto his supporters as well. What do you think about that?
Well, the dirty tactics by the left, I mean, again, not praising them, but you got to give them credit on how effective those evil tactics, in my opinion, have been, because they're doing it in a deceitful way, and they know that they're deceiving the people. So in my opinion, it's an evil approach. Yeah. Are they masterfuls? Yes, unfortunately, they're very good at it. So it is our job to get that smoke screen out of the way and show the truth. Carlos, what do I think? It's unbelievable. It's disgusting how Trump was great for them. In every show, Mike Tyson photos with Jesse Jackson, with reverends in New York, helping the black community. And all of a sudden, even Oprah Winfrey, that demonic lady, in my opinion, well, that's another subject. They all praise Trump. Trump, Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, he went to The View. He was loved by everyone. Donald Trump, even in rap videos, there are rap videos that, and I used to listen to more American rap in the past. Nelly, Rick Ross. I mean, all across the board, Lil Wayne, they mentioned Trump in their videos. I want to be like Trump. I have money like Trump. I mean, and all of a sudden he ran, and they knew that they had to flip the switch. The reason why, in my humble opinion, is because they know that he wasn't in their pawn. He wasn't in their evil pedophile cabal, globalist cabal, and they knew that he was going to go after them and expose their criminality. And they pretty much flip-flopped on him. Again, it's sad to see that 50% of the country believe those disgusting lies by the left. But again, anyone with half a brainstem can pretty much do a research and see a lot of those comments that Trump is racist, right? Quote unquote. It's a lie. Just the main thing that when he ran in 2016, that he said, a lot of the people crossing over the border illegally, including Mexicans, said a lot of them are coming in a criminal approach. A lot of them are criminals and rapists. what did the news do? They flip that and they don't show the whole video of him saying Mexicans and other nationalities are coming across the border, and some of them are criminals and rapists. They don't show that. They just literally tell the people, and the sheep believe it, that he said that all Mexicans and Latinos are criminals and rapists. And people bought that, Carlos. You know that. We go back to 2016. It was like yesterday.
Till this day, they're still buying it. Let's look at an example at one of Biden's most recent. It's a recent ad to really drive the point home. Let's take a look at that.
Of course I hate these people.
Donald Trump disrespecting black folk is nothing new. He was sued for refusing to rent his apartments to black families and called for the execution of 5 innocent black and brown teenagers.
And it's more than anger, it's hatred.
It's why Trump stood with violent white supremacists, warned of a bloodbath if he loses the next election, and if he's president again, vowed to be a dictator who wants revenge on his enemies. Now, who do you think that is?
Did you see that? Did you? So here. Did you notice that in that ad there was no mention of how to better improve our lives, how to help the economically suffering in our country, how to secure and prosper fellow American citizens? Did you notice it was all emotionally driven lies to manipulate into forgetting about your daily struggles, our daily struggles, and voting based on hatred towards this man? I think there are a lot of people, though, who are not buying this tactic this time around.
Most certainly, Carlos, I could not agree more, and thanks for showing that video. It's basically what we're talking about earlier today, how the left, how these Democrats, quote unquote, because they're truly Marxists, most of them are just communists. You know, they have this title of Democrats, but at the end of the day, most of them are Marxist communists. So what's going on is obviously very deceitful, lots of lies. They don't tell you, Democrats in power, they don't tell you why we should vote for them. They don't sell their product. They do not sell their goodies per se. Everything they just pretty much tell you is, hey, don't vote for that guy. That guy is bad. Orange man, no good. But they don't tell you, hey, these are the selling points why you should consider voting for us and our ideas. But instead, that's all they have, Carlos. And what does that show you? That pretty much that they're losing the battle. They're losing the info war. They're losing the ideology war. And pretty much in a clean debate, the left knows that they cannot stand up against our America First value, or MAGA movement, and or pretty much our values, which are God, country, and family, or God, family, and country, you know, whichever way you want to spin it. But they don't have a leg to stand on, in my opinion.
Why are you here today to support Donald Trump?
I am here for Trump.
To support Donald Trump, to put America first.
What do you like about Donald Trump?
Everything. He's from Queens, and he speaks our language.
I like Trump because he keep it real. He don't got no filter. He's for the people.
He speaks money, and this is what the country needs. We need money, not inflation. We need money.
Everything was under control. We had low inflation. We had gas under $1.80.
What issues are people in the Bronx facing?
Economic stress. They're facing an illegal invasion.
In the Bronx right now, it's definitely crime.
Prices is extreme.
We care about the housing. We care about the crime.
How has Joe Biden addressed those issues?
He hasn't.
He hasn't addressed them. He wants to make them worse.
Nothing. He's just been talking a lot.
The Biden name in the Bronx sounds like mass incarceration.
What has Joe Biden done for the minority community?
He's done nothing but say, you ain't black.
Incarcerated us. Not a thing.
Absolutely nothing.
I really could not tell you what he's done.
Joe Biden says, if you don't support him, you ain't black. Are you black?
Hey, Joe, guess what?
Oh, I'm absolutely black, and I support Trump.
I don't know why he would say that. He's not even black.
I guess I said I ain't black, because I'm not voting for him.
Trump is more black than him. Trump is black as I am. You heard?
That's beautiful to watch.
Yeah, let me tell you, it's going to be very hard for the left to paint these folks as white supremacists, but don't underestimate their creativity and hatred and power hunger, to be honest with you. They aren't going to just sit back and watch these poll numbers as they are. Mm-hmm. They're not going to sit by and just be like, oh, well, we're losing. They're gonna ramp something up at this point. But what are your reactions to the people in South Bronx coming out to support Donald Trump?
Carlos and dear Patriots, my reaction to that video, it's just amazing in a great way. It's beautiful to see a lot of our brothers and sisters from every color, race, and creed and religion being there, united for one purpose, to support Donald Trump. That's a hood. I mean, that is New York, Brooklyn, the ghetto hood, and I don't say that in a bad way. I say that in a loving way, but it is the truth. A lot of the people there, a lot of these constituents, they went there and they said, not even Democrats have come here in a while. No president has gone to that area, and if they have passed by with tons of security for like less than a minute. So what do I see there? I see a lot of patriotism. I see massive awakening. And I see something that scares the left, Carlos. That video has the left in shambles. They are running around like chickens with their heads cut off, scrambling at the last minute to see what they're going to do. And in my opinion, they don't have the goodies. Obviously, are they getting ready to come up with crappy videos and ads like the one that were Trump's a racist? I mean, what, are we in 2016 still? People know that's the case. I mean, there's a massive awakening. If at this point you're a Democrat and you're still believing, oh, the Trump's a racist guy, he's going to be a dictator, quote unquote, I got to vote for pedophile Joe Biden, you really need a lot of help, unfortunately. And that's in my humble opinion. But I see a beautiful video there. I see a massive awakening with our brothers and sisters in the African American community. And it's beautiful, Carlos. It's beautiful. Joe Biden couldn't get 100 people. If he goes to that same spot in the hood, in the Bronx, he probably could not get 100 people rallied up.
I agree. Here's what I see. I see fatigue. I see fatigue in those people. They're tired of being financially, pressured, right?
Strained.
They're strained, correct. So that's what I see. And I think it's starting to reflect in the polls. Let's watch our next video.
Here's a CNN bimbo being told the bad news by the network's resident statistician, who is the only person on the entire network who doesn't lie with every breath. It's a miracle that they haven't fired him yet, but they need somebody who is an expert on polls and on statistics to report things, as bad as that news is for Clown News viewers.
The effort that Donald Trump and his campaign have been making to try to make inroads with Black and Hispanic voting communities, you see that with this attempt to go into the deep blue Bronx.
The ghetto, the South Bronx. He went into the ghetto.
But you actually think there's a larger story at play here that people aren't talking about?
Yeah, I think there are a few things. Number one, guys, if we could just put this newspaper up on the screen. Look, this is Donald Trump's hometown paper, the New York Post. He got the headline that he wanted out of this. And
it says Uptown Funk, by the way. Donald Trump storms the Bronx with Love Fest.
What are the trends you're seeing among Hispanic voters this year?
Yeah, so we saw a trend among Hispanic voters from 2016 to 2020 where they became less Democratic. Look at the trend that we're seeing right now in the polling, right? So if you look back at Hispanic voters at this point in the 2020 cycle, Joe Biden had a 25-point lead. Look at where that lead is today. It's just 7 points. Donald Trump right now at 44%, if that held, would be the best performance for a Republican candidate among Hispanic voters since George W. Bush back in 2004. And this is part of a larger trend line, Kate, that we're seeing among non-white voters. We see it among Black voters as well. We've discussed that on this program before, whereby they're much more favorable to Donald Trump than they were 4 years ago. And of course, Donald Trump did better amongst both of those groups in 2020 versus how he did in 2016.
Look at her. She's starting to brace herself. She can't even believe what she's hearing.
So I think the numbers are very telling, but rest assured the left is going to ramp up their rhetoric. They're going to go back to recycling some of their lies, like the Russia story, the misogynistic portrayal, and the lie of grabbing women by the you-know-what. I mean, they've got the Stormy Daniels trials going on right now, and all their deceitful tentacles are coming up with goose eggs, to be quite frank, because Trump continues to gain in popularity amongst the people who are feeling the everyday pinch, just like we're seeing right now. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts is definitely how, this massive awakening, it has their legs shaking, basically. Even CNN, the clown news network, they're having to admit the reality. And even the stats guys, I cannot agree more with Mark Dice. He's the one that lately he's just been saying the numbers how they are. They're not manipulating them like typically CNN does, with stats and videos. So even they're having to admit that what's coming is a massive landslide if there aren't any irregularities, like we know, that are well documented from the 2020 election. Carlos, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing to see this approach by Trump, how he's going to places that not even Democrats, have shown their heads there. Even CNN, MSNBC, ABC, all this controlled media, they're having to say what's going on. I mean, they're having to admit it. Obviously, they're in panic to the point that I'm sure you saw this today. They, in New York, they had Robert De Niro walking with the Biden campaign and the Biden administration, with some of Biden's handlers in New York. And he was rejected by the people in New York, saying, you're a paid Democrat. What are you doing here? He was literally ran out of the street, into his hiding place. So they're desperate, Carlos. I mean, to the point that they're pulling out and calling this washout, celebrities, quote unquote, Robert De Niro, who's probably, the biggest Trump derangement syndrome individual out there. I mean, he literally has some problems that he needs help, in my opinion. In press conferences today, literally just going off, derailing Trump, the loser, Trump, if you elect this guy, democracy's over, like just spilling this fear mongering, Carlos and Patriots, that everybody knows it's a lie. It's a facade. They're desperate, in my opinion.
Yep. And I think based on the video that we saw before, where I noticed people are just economically fatigued, they're not buying the left's BS, and I think this next video will encapsulate that.
A lot of the people I talked to were first-time voters. Some had never been to a Trump event before. Some had voted for Obama twice and voted for Biden and are now saying they are going to vote for former President Trump in November.
But haven't they heard about the mean tweets that he's posted and the things that he said about illegal aliens?
Are these voters just not offended at all by those types of comments and some of the actions he took as president?
Yeah, no, I will say I talked to these voters about the Central Park Five. I talked to them about some of the comments that he's made and the policies beyond rhetoric, right? They are just so focused on what their lives are like right now, what they can feel tangibly, that when I push back with those comments, they shut that down. They said, listen, he might say some stuff that's offensive, but at the end of the day, I feel like my life was better under former President Trump than under President Biden. And I take all of the points that we're hearing here, but this is what I hear from voters consistently. And we see this reflected in the data as we're seeing these numbers of Black and Hispanic voters sort of getting chipped away from the Democratic Party and moving towards Trump. A lot can happen in the next 6 months, but I just see this consistently as I talk to these demographics.
Yeah, so this lady clearly expresses exactly where people are at right now. They don't care about what he says. They care about what is tangible to them day in and day out. He made a mean tweet. Oh, no. How does that help me pay my bills? He said something I don't agree with. Oh, no. How's my bank account looking? He said something offensive. Oh, no. Is my fridge full and can I eat? I mean, that's what's really important to people.